Al, it is. It's time to talk about some musical drama
Yep.
that doesn't feature any musical parts.
No, unfortunately, I was really disappointed by that.
It's a very weird thing. But either way, we're gonna talk about a musical drama this week
Uh-huh.
here on this week's episode of the seasonal anime checkup OVA. It's a podcast where we have conversations about video games, anime, and manga. Hello, I'm Jared, joined as always by Doc Al and Lady
Hello.
This is episode number 421, and we are going to be discussing Love Live, the school idol musical, the drama.
What a title.
What a title. Yes, this is a live action adaptation of the school idol musical stage play that they've been putting on for quite a while now.
Mm-hmm.
I believe, does it say when they started doing this thing? In 2022. Yeah,
Oh,
December of
wow.
2022 was the first performances of this, and they've done it in 2023 twice. They did it in 2024. They're going to be doing it in 2025. They put out a CD of all the songs that are performed in it. And now they made this live action adaptation. This isn't, I guess, a live action adaptation. It's just a adaptation of it because they're both live
Mm-hmm.
action.
Right.
So yeah, it's the first time we were able to really get a chance to view this as a product because like they have not released the stage play portion of it on like home video or anything like that outside of just like the CD that's like here's all the songs and stuff. So we haven't had a chance to see how like this compares to the original or anything like that. We just have this to go off of, so it's a little bit
Mm-hmm.
weird because like you think like you're going into this like, oh, it's the musical, so we know what a musical entails and all that sort of stuff, and like they've made television musicals and everything, so like that's probably what we're going to get here. And it's like, nah, this is just like a live action Love Live series.
Yeah, I was kind of expecting like High School
Right, right,
Musical-ish.
right.
And that's not what I got.
No, it's just like all the stuff where you'd probably see a bunch of them like singing and doing stuff, like you can kind of tell where those parts would be in this show, but they're just not
Mm-hmm.
there. It's just like if you get music, it's just them performing songs that they perform like on stage or something of that nature, like you would see in the anime. So that was a
Yeah,
little
there were a
bit of
few points while we were watching it where like, hey, there should have a song right here, or there should have been a
right,
song right here.
yeah. So that was interesting, but yeah, 6 episode series here. Averages out to be like 3 hours, probably about the same length of time as what you would see for like a stage play, essentially, give or take.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know if like there's anything like that's cut or added to this or anything. Like I said, we haven't seen the original or anything, so we can't really compare the two. But we have the television series in front of us, and it was interesting, I guess, to see just like how do you present Love Live as a live action series on television compared to an anime.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the things that I found interesting about the way they shot this and how they directed it essentially is that like it kind of feels like a lot of the acting in this is very anime inspired, just like the way they like react to stuff or um
Mm-hmm.
do things in general. It just feels very like coded of like what you would see in anime, of like how it's kind of like over exaggerated in a sense that it doesn't have the same sense of like what you would normally see in a live action television series. So I thought that was kind of interesting of how they decided to go with that as a
Mm-hmm.
choice. But I don't think like it's something that like really deters from the series or anything of that nature.
Yeah, like if nothing else, a good example is the main girl, whenever she's happy, she does like basically like the anime happy face
Yes.
with like eyes closed and everything. I'm like, oh, okay. It's not normally how people express happiness in every instance, but
No, but it is interesting that they decided to go
yeah,
with that. But yeah, the series was interesting.
yes.
I think again like Love Live does its most interesting things when it is not necessarily in a main series.
Mm.
Like you get stuff like this, you get like the original Nijigasaki story, you get the stuff that's happening with the Hasano Sora girls at the moment. Um, that's really where they kind of start to do like their more experimental storytelling, I guess you could say, in terms of like where they're not actually like following the same strict formula that the like OG Sunshine and Superstar have kind of fallen into essentially.
Hmm.
So I think that's always interesting to see like what they decide to do when it's like you're not getting the series in its like main focal point essentially. But yeah, this series, the main thing about this is that you are getting two schools at once,
Hmm.
and they both have idol clubs, and they're like things are happening. They have crossover stuff happening. Moms are fighting. Big mom beef in this series.
There's some big mom beef in this series. There's some passing out.
There's some pass now because my daughter's too happy and no one notices her. There's some just weird stuff that happens in the show, but I still found it enjoyable.
Yeah, it was fun.
Like I don't think it was bad or anything. It was just some of it was kind of goofy here and there.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, like, can you imagine no one cares about you enough that like you passed out and they're just like, okay, well, anyway.
Yep.
Also worth noting that one of the girls looks like she could be like Shuka's cousin.
She's a dead ringer. It's wild. Like the whole time we're
She
just like,
really
hang
is.
on a second, hang on a second.
Like they look like they could be related.
Yeah, it's wild.
So that was funny.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, you have cross school idols.
Yes.
And you do end up getting the school closure narrative at one point, but it lasts for like 10 seconds.
Yes. We're gonna kind of speed through this because, as you can tell, Alice is still sick. If you've listened to Jared Now Watch, you will know that she's been sick this week. So
Oops.
we'll kind of speed through this a little bit. But again, it's like 6 episodes, so like there's not a whole lot to really dive into here.
Uh,
But we'll talk about some stuff here and there, But yeah, this show is about two girls essentially. We have Anzu,
mhm.
who is the big center of the Takizakura Girls Academy Idol Club. She is like the main star of this group. Her mom is
Pageant mom.
the head of the school. Yeah, she's very much a pageant mom. She's like, I made this idol club just for you, and we're about to make your major debut and everything. So yay, everything's going great. Whip yippee. And then on the other side is Rurika, who's a student at, this is a long word. Let's see if I can get this right. Tsubaki Sakurahana Girls High School. She is a big fan of Anzu. She reads about her in the Idol magazines and everything, watches her on the television. Her mom is the head of that school and everything, and she's like wanting Rurika to basically kind of take over the school once she goes through college and everything and do all that sort of stuff. She's got her pals and everything. She's got the basketball gal who loves the Lakers.
Uh-huh.
There's the girl who loves to draw who has the comic book inspired backpack.
Yep. There's a
The
shy one.
There's the shy one, and then there's the girl that's under like a year beneath them that is a big fan of Rurika.
Yes.
That's her pals, and yeah, they're just like hanging out and chilling and doing all their stuff and being happy. They go to see a performance of Anzu's group and all that, and they're like, "Wow, that was so cool! Really neat everything." But Anzu is like having a bad time because she has all the pressure of being the center, and like her mom's just pushing her, to be the best at this idol stuff, and kind of
There's
forcing
also
this
some
upon
like
her.
group toxicity because of that too.
Yes, a lot of group toxicity. So that basically pushes Anzu to quitting the idol club and then transferring to Rurika school, which Rurika's like, "Yeah, this is great. You're here. I'm gonna be an idol with you." And Anzu's like, "Huh?
No, I don't want to be an
Huh?
idol.
I don't think so." There's one point where like Anzu's just being hounded by Rurika, and just like Rurika's mom shows up and is like, "We're not doing an idol club. What are you talking about?" And then Anzu's mom shows up and is like, give me a daughter back. What do you mean she's transferred here? And then Rurika's mom's like, "Yes, she's the new president of the idol club here."
Hmm. Mom beef.
Mom beef
Hashtag.
is real. Yeah, this mom beef is real. Like I guess like say that these two moms they grew up together and now
Mhm.
they're heads of different schools and everything, and they just got beef.
This is what happens when your husband is a stock photo.
Yes. Uh, so yeah,
Very obviously a stock photo.
Anzu's at this new school. She just like wants to just do her own thing, kind of just not do idol stuff, and just do school stuff. Just be a regular gal. And Rook is like, no, we're gonna be idols. Let's do it. So they make the idol club, but Ruka's mom's like, I don't really want to make the idol club, and then eventually she's like, all right, I guess you can have one. Um,
But keep your grades up.
Everyone has to keep their grades up. If anyone slips, the club's gone. Um, Anzu is like, I don't really want to join or be president, but like, if you want me to, I guess I could help you out, like, in terms of like, learning about singing and dancing, just like do that sort of thing. And they basically like Rurika's friends all want to join up. They have to convince her friend Misazu, to join, or is Yuzaha who wants to join, because she's like, I got stuff after school. My parents wouldn't like it. But eventually, she gets worn down and is like, all right, I guess I'll join and everything. And then
Peer pressure.
Yeah, they peer pressure the heck out of her. Anzu's former club is like just going through it because like they have to find a new center and they're just beefing with each other because of Anzu's disappearance and everything, and they don't understand why she left and all that. So they're going through a tough time, and like obviously this is all happening right before they're about to make their big debut and everything. So it's just added pressure upon added pressure. There's like Meanwhile, Ruika's group just basically they keep practicing everything. They eventually get Yuzaha to join. Yippee. And then they're all just like, practicing, doing their thing. And then Ruika's like, let's make a song. And Anju's like, yeah, okay, that sounds like a good idea. Let's split this up into like, who can do what and everything. We're going to like, girl who likes to draw, you can design the costumes. Younger gal who was making Ruika fan club gear, you can make the costumes. Yuzaha, you can make the lyrics. And then we'll just do the dance and stuff. We'll do some choreography. That's the word I'm looking for. And everyone's like, "Yay,
Basketball girl, you just exist."
Basketball girl, you're just here to be athletic."
Yep.
Yippee!
Yay.
So yeah, they're doing all that. And then, like I said, Anzu's mom eventually shows up one time when they're just practicing and chilling, and Anzu's having such a great time because she remembers the pure joy of being an idol, and the fun that can be there when there's not this much pressure on her. And she's happy, she's smiling, and then Anzu's mom just passes out because she's smiling.
She's too happy.
And then like the other gals from the other school come to the school and are like, Anzu, your mom passed out. She's doing okay. She didn't want us to tell you, but like, you should probably come back to our school. That would be great. She's like, oh, I gotta run away. I don't know what to do. And then also this is where we get the oh no, the school is gonna get shut down. Arc where Ruika's mom learns that from Anzu's mom, and Anzu's mom's like, I'll just take over your school and everything. It's fine. You could just give it to me. And Ruika's mom's like, no, that ain't happening. We got beef. So yeah, now the Ruika's group basically has to figure out like, okay, well, Anzu's gone. What are we going to do? They're going to do like a little live concert to try and drum up support for the school and everything. And now there's like, are we going to do this? Do we keep going and everything? Like, what do we do? Everyone's like at a crossroads. Rurika shows up and like no one's there. She's like, I guess I'll just do it by myself. And then slowly but surely all the girls show up and they perform there. And then people are just like, okay, cool, you're performing. And then this is also where like, she's got the sign and everything. She's like, wait a minute. We're not idols, like professional idols or anything. We're school idols.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone's like, oh.
The origin story.
Yes, we'll get into that in a little bit. So yeah, they perform and everything, and everyone's happy. And then they also got invited to go to the Takazakura cultural festival, which is where Anzu's group is going to perform and make their major debut, and they're like, "Hey, sorry for taking Anzu back, but you guys want to perform at our culture festival as like a kind of like a a nice
Consolation
a
prize.
consolation, I guess. Like I guess this is what we could do for you." And they're like, "All right, let's do this." And we get the weirdest and the
Oh
funniest
God.
and most awkward performance I've ever seen in a Love Live show, where they just
Yep.
perform the song they made with Anzu, but they don't change the part where Anzu was in the song or anything. So like all the parts where like she would be singing are just there's nothing there.
Blank.
There's a very obvious spot where she's supposed to be in the choreography, and everyone's just like, what are they doing? This is so weird. And we're just like, this is hilarious.
It was so funny. And they had a month to figure this out, and this is their solution.
Yep. And the whole time On's just kind of like, I'm having memories of having fun with these girls. Oh,
Oh
because the whole time they're
no.
like, Anzu, do you still want to be here? Are you sure this is what you want? And I'm just like, I guess, I don't know. But eventually her memories wear her down. She runs on stage and helps perform the end of the song with them, with Ruika and the gang. And she's very
Which I
happy.
had a question of like, did they restart it or did she just do like a part of it?
That's a great question.
It was so awkward. God, that was so funny.
So yeah, now she's happy again.
Yay,
Yay.
happy.
Moms have some talks with their daughters and everything. And then the moms talk and they're like, hey, what if we just stop beefing and being really dumb and immature about this? You want to just like merge schools and like just do it that way? And they're like, yeah, I guess that would be a good idea. I made note that like Anzu's mom during this, usually she was wearing like a red, I think. I don't know what you would call
Like
it,
a
like
scarf.
a scarf thing. But in this scene in particular, she's wearing a red and green scarf, symbolizing the colors of both schools.
Mm-hmm.
Foreshadowing for like a minute from now. So yeah, they merge schools. We get like a flash forward to a year later where like both the schools have combined, both the idol clubs have combined, and now they are school idols. Except like some of the girls from Anzu's original group have not joined them. But they got
It's so funny. They just disappear.
They just disappear. But they got cute outfits this time. This is the first time you get to see them in like idol outfits.
Yeah.
And they perform and then they're happy. Everyone's happy.
Yay. We theorized maybe they graduated because that would make more sense than them just being like, peace out.
Or
We don't
some of them
we
just
don't
may
want
have
to
been
join
like,
you.
yeah, maybe some of them was like, I just don't really want to do this anymore. I'm good.
Yeah. This was weird and so toxic. I gotta go.
Yeah. So yeah, that was the kind of gist of this whole story and everything. I made mention of this, and apparently this is also, I guess, the thing that other people have picked up on, which makes sense, is that people are basically thinking that this is a prequel to the whole series. And there's some like things on this website here that I'm looking at that like kind of like talks about this as well as like kind of like, hey, this is why this would be. Like my theory was like, when Ruika makes it like, hey, we should be school idols, no one's like, oh, right, school idols, those are a thing. Everyone's kind of just like, oh, that's a cool idea. I've never heard of that before. And like no one makes mention of school idols at all prior to this. It's all just like the idol club. Like they're actually like an Anzu's group is going to be like professional idols essentially.
Right.
But this also talks about how like, Ruika, she gets all of her information through the Idol magazine. She watches it on television. Like there's no one has like a smartphone or anything. There's a couple times where you see like a laptop, but it's a thick boy. So like that also kind of makes it seem like this would be a little bit dated as well. There's when they're practicing, like Anzu's group, when they're practicing in like their practice room, whatever, they have like an old CRT TV. The handheld camera they're using is very old looking as well. Like it's kind of like an early 2000s like digital camcorder type deal. I guess also as well like sometimes when they show stuff on TV, it's like in 4:3. And then also there's talking about how like one of the characters wears loose socks. So like fashionably, it would be like either like mid 90s to early 2000s. And I guess people have like theorized that this is like around 2005 because I guess they show a calendar at one point and September 12th is on a Monday. That's when it was in real life.
Oh, were
So,
the Lakers really big in 2005?
I mean, this would like they would have been coming off of like the Shaq Kobe three-peat. This would have been like a downturn time. Like this is when they started going down. I think this would have been around the time Shaq leaves the Lakers, but still their popularity would have been pretty big.
Mm-hmm.
So that would make sense as well. Um,
Okay.
so yeah, I think it's interesting that like you would do this and make it a prequel to everything.
Right.
Like obviously, like I said earlier, like we haven't seen the original stuff, so like we didn't know the story of this going in. So like neither of us would have come in to expect to like, oh, this is a before School Idol blows up and all that sort of deal story. I think that's really interesting,
Mm-hmm.
like to kind of go into like the before times essentially and like go into stories of that nature, like because like we don't see that at all in like the anime or anything of that nature.
Right. They already exist.
Yeah,
It's yeah, it's really cool. And I didn't even clock that they never said school idols until she made that change.
yeah,
I was just like, oh, that's just what they are.
mm-hmm,
They're school idols. But like,
yeah.
she never actually said that.
Another thing to make mention here is one of the filming locations in the final episode.
Uh-huh.
This is the place where they go to do their like little street performance that they were going to do, where
Hmm.
Rurika and the gang do that. You may have seen this. You may have looked at the landscape and been like, maybe some of this looks kind of familiar. Well, of course, because that it was in Yokohama. They had a big old Ferris wheel there. You may have seen that in a video game called Like a Dragon and Like a Dragon Infinite Wealth and Lost Judgment. So yeah, it was like that area essentially of Yokohama.
Oh, that's wild.
I thought because like when I saw the Ferris wheel, I was like, is this Yokohama? Is this the place from Yakuza? And like I couldn't really tell, but like then it says on here like yeah, this is where it was.
Hmm.
So that's cool.
Yeah. Neato.
Yeah, but yeah, 6 episodes and it's done. Very self-contained story and everything. I do hope at some point that they put out like the stage play at some point in some
I
way
would like to see a
because I would like to see
comparison.
that. Yeah. But it would like because yeah, it would be neat to like look at this compared to that and see the differences and all that sort of stuff and see it actually as a musical.
Hmm.
But yeah. And it was interesting as well because like we kind of like knew the songs going into this because like we had played them in SIF2.
Hmm.
Um,
Rip.
Yeah, so it was like the opening song and like the ending song. I was like, oh yeah, I know this song. I know this song. But yeah, fun little thing.
Mm.
Like I said, it's always interesting when Love Live kind of goes off the beaten path with in terms of like their storytelling and how they come up with what they decide to do and everything. So, and this is another one of those. And it's also interesting to see like a Love Live story in a live action setting as well, because obviously we
Hmm.
don't get that at all usually.
Nope.
But yeah, an interesting little thing. I wonder as well if like we'll ever see this come out over here, like if they'll ever like put it out. Um,
Like a localized version.
yeah, like a localized version of it. I thought I saw that it was airing on Prime in Japan, but I could be wrong. I might be wrong, but either way, that'd be cool. Apparently if you want to buy the Blu-ray of it of this series, it's like $150, which is like, oh, that's way too much money for 6 episodes. What are we doing here?
Yeah. Nope. Oh God.
But yeah, interesting thing. And I hope again, it's always fun when Love Live does weird stuff like this, and I hope they continue to do weird stuff like this.
Hmm.
But yeah, do you have anything else you want to say, or do you want to go take a nap?
I want to go take a nap.
All right, well, let's wrap this up so Al can go take a nap and feel better.
Hee. Hee
Uh,
hee.
That's going to do it for us this week. So if you'd like more from us, head on over to seasonalanimecheckup.com or sac.cool where you can find past episodes of this podcast and other podcasts like Jared Now Watch. You can also find columns and reviews on the site as well. If you'd like more from Ann Ladium, go to annladium.com. She's got columns and reviews. You can follow us on Twitter and TikTok at Anime Checkup. Follow us on Blue Sky at seasonalanimecheckup.com. Buy our books, One Shiny Moment, A Critical Analysis of Love, Life, Sunshine, Hot Tubs, and Pac-Man on Amazon.com. And you can support us on Patreon, patreon.com/SACOVA. Buy us a slice of pizza, get access to unedited versions of the podcast early. Wealth of bonus content as well, like our monthly Patreon exclusive podcast and some other bonus stuff is up there on the Patreon as well. It's a fun time to be had for all. Next week we'll talk about something else that we don't know what we're going to talk about now.
Not yet.